Hello there, welcome to Planet Collingwood. The echo always throws me. There we go. Welcome to Planet Collingwood, Revolution Radio from slips.com, revolution.radio. A big thank you to Tony and the Y-Files. One day he'll remember the name of the show. It's Planet Collingwood. It may be an open round table, I don't know. It's just, I'm tired of typing. If you enjoyed the last 2 hours of the Y-Files, where I caught the last section of it, where it sounded like a DC Joker convention, where everyone was trying to do their best Joker impression, which is good because we need laughter. Because 7 days, 6 hours and 22 hours, 6 days and 22 hours since the last Planet Collingwood, and geez, some stuff's happened. And we'll definitely talk about that. But go to the said website, frimslips.com or revolution.radio, and donate what you can so we can continue sharing information and broadcasting. We are in our 10th year, I believe, using the old maths, which it's getting that bad that I need to use a calculator just to 2 plus 2. It's, modern technology. It's making, isn't it? Smartphone, dumb person. That's me, not you. And while you're at the website, pop into the merch store and buy onesies for the kids, and there's caps, and there's Zazzle store and t-shirts and so on and so forth. And then pop into the chat room, which only 2 days ago we broke 900 chatters. At the moment there's 92, so I'm happy with that. It's 2 a.m. in the morning, East Coast time, so I'll go with the 10th. Let's see if we can get it down to 23. If you'd like to join myself and the entourage, it's a French word, yes, because we're already up to 5. But yeah, we'll see if I can direct traffic. Just message me on Skype. It's Monty_Dean. This Sacramento wine's lovely, and it's also hot here today, so I'm melting. And yeah, it's Wednesday. That's the only way I know what the day is, because I have a show today. So let's plough into it. Please welcome Steve Zerilath, Cortek, Bruce MacDonald, and Eagle Eye, and Brandon Young. Steve, how are you? I know we're deliving again, so...
we are delighted to meet you, sir. Yes.
Throw lemons at Steve, and I don't mean lesbians.
Yes, sir. I am... I got about 13 viewers right now. I am currently pending for affiliates, that kind of... for affiliate status, which, which is good stuff, and then I can start bringing in more.
Take a moment. Take a moment and push your Amway too, Steve.
My Amway?
Yeah, I know a guy. If you need some powder, Amway. The great TISM stands for This Is Serious, Mum. But they have a song called Amway, Death, Death, Death. And the last lyric of the song is, "Boy, what you need is a dog." Anyway, so Steve, thank you. You just heard Bruce MacDonald. How is our Central American correspondent?
Very, very well, Monty. I'm all in. Over.
Excellent. That's just an easy way to have a conversation on Skype. He's not. I'm all in, and now I'm over it. We also have Cortek from New South Wales.
Buongiorno.
Yeah, yeah, you're one of those foreign types, aren't you?
Hey, I'm talking here.
Yeah, hey. Beep. This may take a while. Also, from the previous show, he hasn't left the studio. He's been strapped to the chair. Eagle Eye, how are you, sir?
Hello, sir, mate. We're hanging in there, bud. Just flying by, saying hello.
You on the edibles, bud?
Sounds good, but no edibles today.
Yeah, are you on the bud?
Just wondering why you're doing 4 hours of round table on a Tuesday. Just curious.
Why not? Stardust Tuesday, you get 4 hours instead of 2. And we've
also edibles there are a little bit stereotyped. Actually, you can. I've personally seen it done, but you can put Red Bull into edibles. Just saying.
Eagle Eye's in the business. His nickname in Arizona is El Toro.
El Toro. I got me a special tunnel. I tunnel him in from the construction site over there yonder.
My people know how to tunnel, okay?
Isn't it just beautiful that we can even laugh?
Yeah. Since I think
human beings.
That's why everyone was laughing on the previous show, just because you laugh or you cry.
Well, yeah, since we reached insanity in August, so we have to come up with a completely new word. In December, we went to ludicrous speed. We've gone plaid, so... And then we had a year's worth of history in 7 days.
Can we cover Jamiroquai at the White House? Because I only saw a picture of that, but I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I've got this weird thing about introducing everyone. Our last guest at this point in time, easy Cortek, I can walk to your house. Don't know where it is, and it'll take a while, but anyway. We've also been joined by Brandon Young, I believe our Boston correspondent.
That's right, your Boston. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. Yes. Still alive here.
Oh, good. Well, yeah. You got to wait till the 20th when the large elephant that's had a jar of laxatives is pointing at the ceiling fan. So go.
Hold on a second. I got something. Can you hear this? Wait, ready? No, didn't work.
No, you're not doing rim shots around here, buddy.
All right.
We have to, it's not 1953.
I thought I could do a boom twos, but it didn't work.
Wait, you thought? No, I kid. So where do we want to start? Where do we want to unpack it? Well, you did mention Jamiroquai, and apparently now I don't know if it's true or not, because we're in usually between the solstice and around about the 5th day of January, we're in that out of time type of thing. In Australia, Boxing Day to New Year's Eve is the week out of time, because what is it, Tuesday? Oh, okay. I'm just waiting to get drunk, but not that news really didn't really happen.
Waiting till lunchtime.
Yeah, it's like, it's 5 o'clock in Tokyo. Wham. Apparently, Jamiroquai has released a statement saying that he wasn't there at the Capitol building. He's like, you nuff.
Yeah. And he wasn't anywhere for the past 20 years as well.
Well, yeah, it's like,
Ouch,
have a car accident, maybe kill someone. It's like, maybe I should stop driving fast. So there you go.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, we're skipping
He's
timelines.
Like, if that is true, he's like Tim the Toolman Taylor, I guess.
So that's a yes. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just create our own timeline here.
Skipping timelines,
Yeah.
All right.
It's just we're in that weirdness thing, and you've had big tech clamp down on a sitting president, which makes perfect sense because they can't wait 2 weeks or a fortnight if you're in the Commonwealth countries. And I'm just gonna this division. So I'm gonna start pointing out that I am at an American radio station, but I'm just plow through all the Australianisms so people will learn or switch off. Let's be fair.
Or watch that episode of the snowplow on The Simpsons.
Oh, yes, there is that too. I just quickly like to point out, when I'm watching American TV and I hear an Australian accent, it's just really bad. It's like, I can watch Australian TV. It's like, of course, that's what we sound like. But then you have an Australian accent on American TV. It's like, gee, it's like getting a lump of quartz and trying to grate it. It's just like, this is bad.
Oh, crikey, the crocodile's going for his crotch.
And please welcome John Z, our New York correspondent.
Oi, John Z, how are you, mate?
Oh, please stop.
I heard you was dead, Snake.
Snake Plissken.
Half.
I was recently watching the animated DC universe, and it's Justice League Dark, where it's John Constantine. It's all magic and everything else like that. Oh, and it's a John Constantine Batman buddy film, and the best line that Batman says it about 3 or 4 times is.
Actually, I got a crazy one for you. A Batman goes back in time to the days of the Shogun and Samurai.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yes.
That one was probably the craziest thing I've ever seen, and it worked.
That was great.
Yeah, well, when you explain it to people, and I've got a nice anecdote to follow up, is it was half made in Japan, and you can clearly see it. It's like watching Akira, where the first 2 acts are very sort of westernized storytelling, and then the third act's like, oh, we go a bit Nippon now. Boom! It's like, what's going on? I remember when, back in 97, 98, we're watching a compilation video, and Rammstein, the German industrial band, heavy band, and they're doing their song called Bick Down, which means bend over. And the lead singer has a prosthetic penis that's leaking liquid and is slapping the keyboarder's butt. And someone walked into the room and it's like, what the hell is this? Oh, this is Rammstein. They're from Germany. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they're German. Oh, that makes all sense. It's art.
Yeah.
If they're from Cleveland, it's like there's something wrong with them.
Right.
So yeah, we had what a ride in the last 7 days, and it's not over yet because we've got another 7 days. Because I think the 20th is going to be a fixed point in time and space, as Doctor Who would say.
I think Arnold is coming back to make another speech.
I would like to comment on one of you guys brought up the Viking that was in the Senate.
Yeah, that guy.
So here's what's very interesting about that. People, a lot of people don't know that he actually is a content creator. He actually has a voice. He's not just a kegger guy who decided to dress up in bullhorns and flow through a crowd and say, yeah, I'm a Trump supporter. Yo, he goes by the name of Jake Angeli. And he calls himself the Q Shaman because he's a Q Trump person. And he claims to be a private contractor, maybe ex-military, 32 years old. And he claims that he's one of the psychic super soldiers, but he works as a private contractor. And he's got a Rumble account. And even if all that's a lie, his Rumble account's really good because it's all sorts of subject matter on our level. The big difference is that he's pitching it as somebody who's got a few ins and outs because he's kind of part of introducing the existence of super soldiers in a real positive way. So he thinks he's a Jedi.
The interesting thing is the interesting thing as well is everyone confirmed Antifa. It's like, no, I think the 3 guys next to him were probably Antifa, and he's not a double agent per se. He's more of a undercover type thing because he has been seen at BLM and Antifa. Not protest, that's the wrong word. Events, and he's probably there just to be a crap stirrer, if I can tone down the language.
He didn't seem to mind getting his face out there, did he?
Well, there's a photo. What I'm getting at is there's a photo of him meeting Rudy Giuliani, and people have reacted like, oh, well, he's not Antifa, he's a Trumper. It's like, if you're nice, you could probably get a photo with Giuliani quite easily because you walk up and say, excuse me, sir, can I get a photo with you while he's at a book signing? So this is,
it was a public autograph.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. The conspiracy world seems to be, they've doubled their dose of whatever they're on. I mean this politely, but some of the stuff that's coming out...
the overflow from creative people.
Well, that's the thing. Like now, I'm sure we'll bring up where Trump's it's a sting, and they're pushing that narrative. Now, if that happens, cool. But if it doesn't happen, prepare for disappointment, because that's sort of my spiritual experience for the last decade. Where how many times can you listen to on this date this will happen? By the 15th one, I was like, I'm not listening to these people anymore. Because, there was a solar flash on the 21st and we're in 5D, and I hang out with the Galactic Historian and he poo-poos most of the ideas because we live on an energy farm and it's going to take a while. It's an inside job and it's going to take a while. Nothing outside of you is going to save you. It's, the Hopi, it's not a prophecy. It's more of a truthful statement. We are the ones they're waiting for, which means you do. Why am I waving my hands? I'm on radio. It's an inside job to borrow from 9/11.
I have to say before moving on, it seems in the last 2 decades since my employment in the military, government has really rolled out the red carpet for these past super soldiers, man. I mean, it would have been nice being the guy that is kind of like the gatekeeper or the curator and just take people into a museum. It would be a really interesting tour. It'd be like, okay, well, here's the needle that they first jab you with, and then this is the van that you take you, and there's the electric. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, this is the black duct tape. We call it gaffer in Australia. We use that, not duct tape, which is the silver duct tape, which is a little bit less. That eventually that could happen.
Gaffer lives matter, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's popped up on the Australian politics radar. It leaked onto my radar. Like, wow, okay, fine. However, one of the idiots in charge said all lives matter, and that sparked the whole thing of all lives matter is a white supremacy term because it's downgrading what the blacks are doing, and then you've got actual Aboriginal people that have critical thinking by pointing out, most crimes are black on black crime. So, if you care about lives, stop doing it to yourself. Stop doing it. You know what I mean? My slogan is all human lives matter, and it's covered from all. Now, if the white and the white lives are okay, let's focus on the black lives. You know what I mean? It's across the board. I've got this weird thing of being a collective.
Monty?
Yes.
I'm all in. Over.
Yeah, have you been watching Aeroplane again? It's like we're all behind you. Go ahead, Steve.
The thing is, the second we got our act together as a nation and said, we seriously and wholeheartedly, based on merit, finally want to acknowledge the outright equal dignity of the races that we've kind of been a little bit abusive and exploitive to in history through now. We all of a sudden turned up the heat on the white guy, as in no, what we're actually going to do is we're just going to pass the buck to the white man. Mm-hmm. Enjoy your karma. It's karma, but it's sadistic. It's like you learned your if people hadn't learned their lesson. These are people that knew. These are people who have been talking about that kind of thing. Very not racist people. Maybe people that black people do not understand. And maybe they unconsciously, are inappropriate speaking. But, there's no, but it's all the weirdness that comes with the changing of the times. And they're not bad people. You just are trying to erase a certain part of history that they represent.
Oh, they've got a thing about that. Tonight's show is brought to you by the word hypocrisy, because we've seen that where, President-elect, we can actually say that because he won the votes. Now, let's even get into that. We're a democracy. We're not mob rule. It's the same thing, you tard. Anyway, the thing is that the issue is that the votes at the start of on the 3rd of November, they're fraudulent, and they're at the end going, no, this is what we've got, so therefore we're following the Constitution, and that's you can see the reality that the Democrats they're pushing the idea that the 12 senators who wanted to double check the results, apparently they're Nazis and they're trying to overthrow the government. It's like by double checking the results. But we're following the Constitution. Yeah, but if you go back 2 months ago where there seems to be a legal problem, you're not following if the election's unconstitutional, but you're saying it's constitutional now. And you can see what I mean by the hypocrisy, especially with Biden's latest thing where we're going to help everyone that's not white or a man. White men, you're on your own. It's like, well, that's like a majority of the people in the United States. And also, being Australian, American, and Canadian is an idea. It's not actually a race. Because anyone can be an Australian, Canadian, or American. Because if you fill out the forms, key thing, even if you're a refugee, you have to fill out the forms. You can become an American or an Australian or a Canadian. And a New Zealander as well. However, you hate immigrants. No, I think immigrants are wonderful because they fill out forms and they're not trespassing. Little things.
Right. And they can have their own land.
Yeah, if you follow their rules. Now, obviously, let's not do a 7-hour thing about
how country.
Yeah,
send them to Mars, send them somewhere else. These are these aliens. These are legals.
Well, I've got a feeling after the last week, the Galactics have gone, yeah, let's quarantine the planet Earth again.
Hey, can I just say that if you're writing a script for like the planet, how crazy is it? How many people would write Arnold Schwarzenegger into exactly what he just did like last week?
Yeah, the way I see it is we're at the end of Revenge of the Sith. We're in the last 20 minutes where I can just see Biden getting sworn in. It's like, I love democracy. I love the Republic. But after the attempt on my life, we now will form the first great American empire. And you have to call me Emperor.
Binks is like, yeah.
Oh, well, that would be Nancy Pelosi. It's like, she won the Speaker of the House. Oh, great. Drunk Grandma's got a gavel again.
Jar Jar Pelosi.
Meme that out of existence. Mind you, on the flip side of all of that is that the memes have been getting thick and fast. And I've been a memeologist, a memester. I've been meming it up a storm. It's fantastic.
Memester. Yeah. I think the correct term is memester. And
sounds like a DC villain. But
yeah, the memester with safe space.
Yeah, I don't have a weapon. I just load images onto my Facebook account while I still have it, and take that, heathens.
Yeah, show them. Boy, these tech giants are out of control.
Oh yeah, is that Bruce?
Yeah.
Are you all in?
I am, Monty, and I'm going to commit even further right now. So, where do we all stand on what's going on? I'd like to hear everybody's opinion. I know this is a very personal time, but we're on the air.
I know there's people listening. My short version is still wait and see, because whatever happens on the 20th, it's just going to get ugly. And if the rumblings from a section of the alternative media where Trump's got this is Insurrection Act and blah 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 and all this stuff, and it's like, well, if it happens, cool. And what happens when it doesn't? So we sort of have to see. And also, I think Biden will be a lame duck president. And all the stuff that they want to do, their ratings is usually you have that boost of like, I think he's doing well. It's been 3 days, but in less than a week, mandatory masks and more lockdowns, and we'll take your guns and blah blah blah, yada yada yada, and Americans are going to go, well, you clearly suck, and just approval ratings will drop through. Even with the insurrection crap, I mean, it's the worst insurrection in history. Like, we've made it in here. What are we going to do? Let's take photos. That's how to save the Republic. So it's just kind of ridiculous. But they're just going to keep rolling forward. Like, this is our plan. And then why does everyone hate us? Because you suck. Who's next?
I think Hijacker was right the whole time, and I just want to say thank you, Hijacker, for being right the entire time.
About what? He says
about nothing. I'm just kidding.
Oh man,
he's never been right. I love you, Hijacker.
But Bruce. We are still in that sort of double timeline, two timeline thing where it can go either way. If Trump does what everyone else is saying he's doing, and there's a legality and martial law and all that stuff, it's like, well, that's going to be a hard sell. However, if you arrest everyone for their corruption and crimes, but then you've got a thing of like the system go, we're going with this now.
I'm like that Chinese guy in the mirror sunglasses at the big Vegas poker tournaments. When everyone else is running, I'm all in. I've been dubious about the whole Q secret plan thing up until about 2 weeks ago. I've never been more convinced. And my conviction is it comes at the exact moment everybody else is bailing. And I do see the etchings of something going on here, and I'm not going to bear false witness to this. The irrationality of a party that just won the House, the Senate, and the executive office. They have the triumvirate of power, okay? And probably the Supreme Court as well, given what went down after the election. And their number one order of business is to go after Donald Trump and to make sure he can't even sign a piece of paper for the last 8 days of his presidency, or 13 days. Because he's so dangerous, he might blow up the world after 4 years of retracting troops from around the world and not starting any new conflicts. This is surely
makes perfect sense.
Surely people have to be able to see through this, okay? So why do I believe the whole Q narrative right now and all of this? Not at the level of detail. In fact, I've never followed the thread. I'm talking about a principle of public communication in a dubious time. I think it's probably the greatest intelligence operation of the last 50 years, where you had to involve your whole public, or those that were capable of receiving the message. So I'll ask Brandon. He's Ivy League fella. What's the number one rule of debate if you've ever been in a debating club or in public debate? Do you remember?
Number one rule?
Yeah.
Geez, I don't know. It depends on who you ask. But yeah, I was on the debate team. What do you think of?
He who controls context controls the debate.
That's true.
Whatever's coming in 2021, whatever the Trump team, and his team, I'm not talking about the goofs that were around him pretending to be a part of his cabinet or anything like that. I mean, whoever was behind this whole Trump thing at a military level, because this was a military operation, they're going to dump so much crap so quickly in 2021 that the context the Democrats are speaking in now isn't even going to exist anymore.
Yeah, there's been, if I may, there's been a little bit of pushback already, because there's been the purge where, like, all the big tech, it's Alex Jones on crack.
Yeah, thank you. And there's the ultimate footnote for my argument. The big people have to see, like, geez, who is he, Dr. Evil?
Yeah. Well, if I may just add to it, have you heard about Uganda?
No.
Uganda is actually
beyond Idi Amin.
The country in Africa. Uganda is actually, I think they've got an election coming up, and they've banned social media from being in the country, and Twitter went off like a petulant child, where this is uncalled for. This is free democracy and censorship of the internet. And it's like, you've got, apart from seeing all like why, I mean, Donald Trump's been kicked off Spotify because he's going to listen to Eye of the Tiger and blow up China or something. But and so you've got that. Then you have Twitter's reaction to being treated the same, and they've just spat the dummy, as they say here, or pacifier. And it's just the hypocrisy, and there's so much comedy involved. Where Uganda said, "No, get out, you suck," and they're like, but you just did the same thing to a sitting president.
Let me let me give my knockout punch here. Why would a guy with 2 weeks left in the White House write one of the most aggressive executive orders he's ever written pertaining to doing business with a list of Chinese companies?
Yeah, well, and also, where did they find
maybe
that?
As a warning?
Nothing adds up. The mainstream, you see, we're being left on our own now. Big Daddy Trump ain't here to hold our hand with a soundbite on YouTube or a clip on Fox. We have this is our bar mitzvah. That probably might be the most appropriate metaphor I've ever used on this show. Right?
Well, hey, listen, man. If the Q narrative is it's going to be biblical.
Yeah, they're going to flip the context. Look, we're going into the woo in 2021. There's no doubt about it. 2021 is going to be PTSD year. It's going to be like, what the hell just happened? And that question will come up sometime around 2027.
Maybe it's risk,
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's just going to be a lot of truth coming out about our history from World War II onwards. The fact that the Nazis were never really defeated, they're still here. What we're calling the UFO thing and what it really is and what its proper context is, what part of it is real, what part of it is just 4D technology, human techno-magical societies have, a whole bunch of stuff. It's like, the disclosure is going to be almost cosmic. And I don't think it's going to be just data dumps. I don't think it's going to be like an FTP server and a bunch of WikiLeaks files. It's going to be different. It's going to be weird. Yeah. I don't know what it is, that's my prediction.
That's part of the don't fear the unknown, love the mystery. And geez, there's a lot of mystery. Yeah. I jokingly said last year that what if 2021 says to 2020, hold my beer? I was slightly wrong. Apparently, he said hold my crack pipe. And that's basically where it's like, even Colbert did a Friday show, which apparently he doesn't do, and it's like, how did we get here? And he was totally way off base. If you go to BitChute and look at Razor Fist, he's put up an 8-minute thing of how we got here. And if you basically, all the people that went to Washington on the 6th, they've been insulted and ground down for 4 years, and you wonder why they push back like this. And yet you've got the hypocrisy about, this is, they're terrorists and this is not America. It's like, well, remember the summer last year? Where, it technically wouldn't Portland be an insurrection because it's been more than 3 months of trying to get into a court building?
No, the entire perspective. The entire perspective of the left is it's law because we say it is. It's the most openly fascist state of mind now. But because it's fashionably fascist, it's like there's so much cognitive dissonance now. It's unbelievable.
Yes.
And I think a lot of that's going to clear up real quick. Whatever the cobwebs are that are creating this, I think it's just going to get cleared out. Cleared out.
Yeah, and that's just going to be the actions of the Biden administration. If the Trump Hail Mary doesn't go ahead, Eagle.
How about the words "trust the plan"?
Oh, shut up. I've seen. I'm sorry. What bloody plan? I've watched The Last Jedi. I know how that ends.
Sit back, enjoy the ride. Trust the plan.
If you were to ask me now, why am I still on board? The only answer I could give you that makes any sense is this is the way.
Yeah, well, we'll find out on the 20th, the 21st. And Planet Collingwood is broadcasting on 2 a.m. on the 20th, so it'll be a prelude to what actually happens. And then if the planet's still here 7 days later, we'll have another show to talk about it.
Yeah, can you
heads are gonna
try to be not so kind of eloquent with your stuff, because fashionably fascist kind of almost sounds like an attractive thing now, Bruce.
Yeah, well, I'm wearing a brown shirt. You
might be gay, Cortek.
I've got a brown shirt. I've got Hugo Boss is very popular these days. The knee-high boots and the joggers and then the hat with the skull on it, and we're all wearing brown shirts because people want to put a yellow star on Trump supporters, and like even Banks are saying we won't work with him. It's like they're exposing by their actions. They're exposing themselves. Eagle, I think you wanted to share something.
Don't tread on me. Yeah, the yellow flag. Interesting. Yeah. Have you seen the different colors? They're working their emblems. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. They're merging stuff.
Didn't Sean David Young have? Or didn't he have a story with that flag in it or something or other?
Oh yeah, Sean David Morton wants to have the rainbow flag back again because, well, all of a sudden it became part of the GBLT Pew Key, whatever it's friggin'. But it's like, remember, it was just like, Dark Side of the Moon, is that I can't even say it now, BGLT, homosexuality, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's really nice now that Sean is out because he's finally able to watch my video.
Well, I'm glad you're looking at the big picture there, Steve.
That's good news. I didn't even realize that's great news.
But no, finally he can watch a lot of stuff and interact with actual people, and he's not stuck in a hole somewhere.
How is his kind of that thing on his throat?
Oh God.
Paul saying, "Go ahead, Eagle."
Just as long as he's not like wilding out like Nick Cannon with that. Okay.
He can't.
You know, Sean knows some Hollywood insiders. You know, so I think he had like the guy from Alien paint that on his throat or whatever, the special effect. I think that was special effect.
Okay, yeah. All opinions on Planet Collingwood are the only of the speakers and not the actual Brandon Young.
Love you, Sean.
What I know is that like Sean was telling me that like what he did on Mr. Rowe, he can't do that like very much at all, because for him to speak, the tumor pushes on his larynx.
Yeah.
So he can't speak often like he can. He can't do that to sound like the old Sean. He has to hurt himself.
Yeah, that's intense because you know the history of Sean David Morton. He likes to talk, and he does it quite well.
Loves to talk.
Yeah, and that's what I got. That he brought me to Revolution Radio because short history lesson. I was watching. I've got to say it correctly because Andrew Bartz is Project Camelot. Because he's got another name for it, and we won't bring it up. But I was following Kerry, and Sean was on another network, and then moved to Revolution Radio because Kerry was here, and that's how I met all of you. So for those who don't like me, you can blame Sean. Everyone that loves me, you can blame Sean. So.
Damn you, Sean!
Going on Sean's show a couple times.
Yeah, because
talking about John Teeter.
Yeah, from 2006, where there was an actual documentary shown on free-to-air television here in Australia, and it's like, well, it was at 10 o'clock at night, but still, wow, the balls on the programming. Someone wants to get fired at Channel 10, clearly. Just following it from that, everyone, like, I mean, David Icke's got a couple of jokes here and there, but Sean was the first person to share the spiritual and the conspiracy and everything with a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Like, I fell in love with him that way.
He sent me a beautiful book. I forget the Sand something Mysteries or whatever.
Oh, the Sands of Time.
Sands of Time, and part 3, and it was a giantly thick book, and it was so full of information. It really, it was like a Dan Brown kind of it was a brilliant book, but like it's like what everybody's talking about now is in that book.
What do you think about that equation in there?
Oh, I don't remember. I got to look at it.
Whatever this fight is we're in, Sean's all in. Over.
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see, we've got a running gag.
Bruce.
You jealous, Monty? Cowabunga.
Wow, you're showing your age. That is so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1983.
I just want to
cowabunga.
Don't have a cow, man.
Go ahead, Steve.
I just wanted to tell you good luck. We're all counting on you.
Thank you. Yes.
And Monty. Thank you, Sean, for bringing Monty to us, if that's the case.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
Nice conception there.
And thank you. And also, over the last week, I've basically had that moment from Aeroplane, which is referred to as flying high here in Australia because studios are stupid. But I think I gave up. It was the wrong week to give up sniffing glue, and I just progressed to like, wow, what's going on? I mean, I knew because I've got an early show tomorrow, or early for me, 9 a.m. And so I thought I'll try. Yeah, ouch. Like 9 a.m. When business is open. I try to go to bed earlier, and I woke up at 6:30. I'm like, oh, I'm awake. I'll get in a couple of hours sleep, and of course I woke up. I needed a 4-hour nap to get over, and so I finally got out of bed at like 11 o'clock. It's feeling like an elephant sat on me. I'm like, oh, that worked out well.
I'm so oblivious to like the to celebrity culture that I didn't know for forever that Jeff Bridges was Beau Bridges' son, and then when I found that out, I thought it was amazing. It's like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, he's awesome in Hot Shots. As the Admiral, he's brilliant in Hot Shots. So check that out. I mean, it's a Charlie Sheen film before he went a bit nuts. Hot
Shots Part 2, he goes from Admiral to President.
Yes.
Oh,
you have to watch Part 2. If you want to have oh man, there was a really good. They made fun of the H.W. Bush assassination attempt in Japan in that movie. It's hysterical.
Yeah, that was senior. I've got a question from the chat room from Cub. I wonder who that is. Monty, ask Steve about the flipper dolphin noise, please. If you remember the interrupting dolphin, as he called you for a while.
Right.
Yeah, well, I don't have it, so we can't hear it. So I've asked you about it, and you said right. So, yeah, great radio, mission accomplished.
Interesting. I know about Flipper. I know that's some coded QAnon words. Our friend here.
They knew about QAnon in the 60s.
QAnon in the 60s. Yeah.
So you're all aware of the recent spike in our chat room, right?
Yes.
I heard about that. It's amazing.
You did?
Yeah.
You do realize half of those people are probably the intelligence agencies, right?
Oh, that's true. Forgot about that. Yeah.
They come up with good handles.
Yeah.
But you don't suddenly you don't.
Thank you for that, Steve. For those playing at home, that was an attempt of showing Flipper. Unfortunately, it's an audio medium, but that was
it was the interrupting dolphin. As long as you heard it.
I saw it.
Copyright something Warner Media, right?
Well, no, fair use. It was used in a parody. But yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, because that was sort of a bonus for Revolution Radio. It's like if everywhere else got nuked on big tech, it's like, well, what's left? Well, here's Revolution Radio, and so I'm sure half of them were actually intelligent ABC institution type things. So like going, well, we'll see what's going on. Oh, okay. I'm sure there's
pretty
a couple.
Cool. Yeah.
Get back to work.
Yeah. I still think there's a couple of ASIO guys like, no, we'll do Wednesday afternoons because we like that guy.
They're talking about this place called Melbourne. We don't know where this is.
Clearly you're an American infiltrator because it's Melbourne.
That's right. Yeah.
Melbourne. It's like, you're not from around here, are you? What makes you think that? It's like Steve Buscemi. Greetings, greetings, my fellow students.
It's like
greeting Earthlings.
Like Massachusetts. Is it Worcester or Worcester?
It's Worcester. Yeah.
Worcester.
Worcester. Welcome to Worcester.
Or Worcester. Anyway, I do like that area because there's a small, well, not small, but there's a music scene there, and that gave us Kill Switch Engage and all those all that remains and bands like that. So it's
that's right.
Do this source.
Good.
Yeah, so it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, Worcester. Yeah. No, there's some great bands out there. Yeah.
So, we've got another 7 days to see what unfolds. That's basically where we're at. That's kind of did everyone answer Bruce's question?
No, I think we should go. What
secession from Texas?
Lay of the land.
What you mean? And so instead of Texas leaving,
we just had a good question.
Are we going to the communist deep sleep here? Did the Bolsheviks win? Is it all over? Was Trump a fraud? And beyond being a fraud, did he set the right up for genocide? At least social, cultural, and economic genocide? You tell me. What I told you guys already, I'm all in. Whereas for 4 years, I doubted the Q thing, I've loaded in the last 2 weeks while everybody else is bailing out. So if you want to get in on my portfolio, throw your hope into my bank account.
It's the new Bitcoin.
I'm good with the Texas plus 17 state secession plan because
you go.
It wouldn't actually break up the nation. What would end up happening is it would actually peer pressure the majority of the states to accept a Trump administration, start a constitutional convention with Trump not as a president, but he would he might be president, but he could be president of a confederacy. And then
or a second civil war, then you're saying.
Because when the Constitution breaks, you rescind back to the Articles of the Confederacy, right?
Yeah.
And then it's question of does everybody want to join the Confederacy, and then it's a matter of saying of establishing the trust of listen, we're going to make a new constitution this year. This is year one for New America. The military is doing its job.
Every state
the military is doing its job because I took care of it.
And the interesting thing is you won't have a divide straight down like the Mississippi River. It's going to be sort of like the middle bit and the coasts. So
like the Rio Grande.
I like to think that they would take the GPS picture of it and then try and do a really straight wall, and then it'd be much harder than they set out to do because they didn't think about it too much.
Be cool if they just guessed. You know what I mean? And
is it possible that is it possible that the whole build a wall down there is to wall in Texas? Anyone ever think about it the other way around?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean the border states have been having issues for a long time. So those states, because Razor Fist is in Arizona and Phoenix, and that's not close to the border, but they still have that you can walk across it because Mexico's an interesting place.
El Chapo.
Yeah, and also, did you? While I think of it, speaking of other countries, did you see that Germany and France are very worried about Twitter banning Donald Trump? You know, if you're at that level, people, something's wrong. If Germany and France are going, "Hey, you calm down, guys," it's like, okay,
yeah, right. And Germany is still run by Hitler's granddaughter.
Yeah.
Merkel.
Can I ask, how does a country express itself to be worrisome? Excuse me, we're worried. How do they do that?
Well, don't worry. Robin Williams did that joke. You know, the chair recognizes the state of Hawaii. So, like, well, how do you recognize what a Tea Party? Like, you look familiar. Who are you? You're an island, aren't you? Yeah, you look familiar. I recognize you. Yes.
Gotta blame someone. Who are we gonna blame? You know, who are we gonna blame now?
And Nicole Arbour, the comedian from Canada, but she's in the United States now, going out with Tommy Vex for those in the heavy metal world, and she basically pointed out, or someone pointed out, I think it was her, that said, like, you win the election and then you're trying to silence your opponent and everyone else, because that seems above board. Like, nothing suspicious there.
Who? Somebody in the metal world said that?
No, Nicole Arbour. No, the comedian, but she's going out with Tommy Vex, the singer.
Nikki Sixx, who was the drummer from...
No.
What's that band?
Well, singer of what?
Motley Crue.
There's this thing called a search engine, Steve, and just put in Tommy VXT.
Well, yeah. If I don't know how it's spelled,
VEXT, vexed.
Tommy Vax. He loves vaccinations.
No, it's an E. Well,
so
you are
metal, dude.
Yeah, but you are from Boston, so you have a strange love affair with vowels. Like, you know, car keys. It's either a pair of pants or you're looking for something to start your car with.
Now, you listen here now. I'm from Maine, you see.
Bad right?
Sorry?
Bad Wolves is his band?
He was, till he was asked to leave because of his political views.
Good Wolf.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Listen, I would like to take a second to mourn the death of Alexi Laiho.
Okay, go ahead.
Finland's one of Finland's finest guitarists.
Thanks for that. Thanks.
Yeah.
Can you play her sweetest solo or something for us?
Rest in power, as they say.
Fenders, benders, and guitar picks.
Yeah, he was 41. Was married to an Australian girl. And he was a great family man. He improvised. What's the right? It starts with in, not improvised, but he evolved.
Ingvevised.
Sorry.
Ingvevised. Ingve Malmsteen.
He did it like... way off. No. It's like saying, "What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?" Satin. No, way off. Way off.
Anyway, Shane, the Finnish Shane.
No, he basically created his own style and was very proficient at it. an innovator. There you go. And he was loved in the metal world completely, and it was a shock because it came out of nowhere. And he played a gig, I think, between October and December last year. And so, thank you, Steve, for bringing it up.
Yes. Yeah. You want me to play a 50-second clip of what he sounded like?
That'd be super cool.
Can I do that?
Well, yeah, 30 seconds.
30
seconds.
35.
He's a Finn. He's a Finn man. Finn.
So that's 30 seconds.
Yep.
Wow,
there you go.
That was super metal.
And he was also the singer as well, so he was the main songwriter.
That looked like Sammy Hagar hair with Joe Satriani fingers. But yeah, good stuff.
Yep, that's Sammy Hagar has like really curly hair.
Cool combo. Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of sucks to do radio where we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But we basically have to look at the mainstream media and point and laugh, where it's like, oh, Donald Trump lost. Yeah, well, rigging it does that, and but there's no evidence. Yeah, there is, but why didn't the court see it? Because they're corrupt and they refused to see the evidence. They weren't allowed. They said there's nothing here before they even saw the evidence.
And how can they say it? He lost on paper or he lost on computer? Which one or both?
Yeah, as well. But they did a recount. Yeah, but if there's 6 people in the room that voted and there's 11 votes and you recount the 11 votes, you really didn't get anywhere, did you? You have to do an audit, and that's the hypocrisy of it. Like, Biden won. Oh, can we double check it? No, go away. You're racist. And they're just basically, as Bruce was going to say, going to be a very interesting year as the Democratic ruling elite. Yeah, I don't remember the left saying we have to control everyone's lives. I thought they were for freedom and do no harm, but now it's like we'll be put into 2 categories: groupthink or wrongthink. Like,
that was the hidden episode, Monty. You missed that one.
Dang it.
You know what's kind of funny? It was like, well, he got 75 million votes. Well, he got 80 million votes. It was kind of like a childhood, well, he got more, It was interesting how they made that.
It's like a Three Stooges TV show.
And
what, and like...
I order, Mo. Hey, what you doing?
Wise guy, huh?
Yeah, you got 75, well, I got 80.
I got 80.
And like, who won the election of 2019? Well, not Trump. It wasn't Biden, because it was allegedly there was enough people that didn't like Trump. So there was Trump, not Trump, and some other guy, Sleepy Joe, that was there. But it was not Trump. And you'll see that, as I said, with the approval ratings. No one cares. It's a blanket statement. I'm sure there are people that voted for Biden. However, like, you just even look at the Twitter numbers. Donald Trump had nearly 90 million Twitter followers, and Biden got around about 20. Now, have you heard what's happening with the inauguration?
No.
They're asking people to stay home because I don't think anyone will turn up.
Of course.
But they're using that whole spat in the Capitol. I'm trying not to say insurrection because it's not really an insurrection. They were trying. It wasn't a coup. They was trying to stop a coup.
Or just a mob, isn't it?
Yeah, because there's only hardcore
sort
Biden
of a
fans.
hangout.
Yeah, but there's no. Yeah. It was a meetup. That was remember that website? It was just a meetup.
Small gathering.
Yeah. But
so they're using a staged event to rationalize a staged event.
yeah. It's almost the level of like, so you're telling me the corrupt system is corrupt? Please go on.
It's a Mandelbro hardcore conspiracy.
Yeah, and we're just coming up to a break, so now you can actually go to the toilet, feed your cat, check your emails. Just don't mix them up because it can get very messy. You're listening to Planet Collingwood, freedomslips.com, here on Revolution Radio. Stick around, we're at the halfway point, so we're going into the change room, see how we can play better, suck on an orange, and then come back out. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. Here we are. At Planet Collingwood. My name is Monty Dean. We're on Revolution Radio. Freedomslips.com. Revolution.radio. And if you enjoyed the last hour, please go to said website, freedomslips.com, and or revolution.radio, and donate what you can to keep us on the air, because we're kind of popular and we need it so we can continue on. I believe I'm the only comedy show on the network. I'm sure a lot of people laugh at, because there's a lot of diversity on the old Revolution Radio, and people need to realise that due to free will, you can have different opinions. Unlike, say, the Democratic Party, whereas, like, you must follow us. Like, have you heard the term, the left eat their own? Because that is so fun to watch. At this point in time, I have been joined by Brandon Young, Cortek, Eagle Eye, John Z, and Steve Zerilath, and we are deliving, which is delightful. Do you see? And, we've got another hour to go of trying to figure out what's going on, or just fill air as well. Make people laugh. And, it's not over till it's over, which is one of those logical things of like, well, duh. So, yeah. I don't know where to go from here, really. I do know that, as we said, the administration, I'm leaning towards they'll probably let Biden in, but it's going to be such a dog and pony show without the dog, or a pony, let's be fair. And as they continue on doing stuff, they won't have the support of the people. I don't think there's no enthusiasm for Biden. And
it does leave much of a show.
Yeah, I know. It's just
I think even if Trump is technically leaving office on January 20th, he's gonna disclose something so gigantic walking out the door.
We can't do aliens. That's been done.
Yeah, the CIA actually done that. It's on the Black Vault, I believe it is. The CIA
doesn't have to. He just has to take out the foundation. The primary thing he has to do is he has to expose not the whole criminal cabal per se as criminal cabal. Think of it more mafia. Think of it as the deep state, as just more like a political mafia. And you start with that because you have to start unfolding from your understanding of what was done in those offices on the public record first, that finally gets put out, that was being held for its criminalness.
Yeah, like and cracking the dam.
From there, you start following the money, and then the money tells the rest of the story.
Yeah, he just needs to release the right bit of information that will cascade and just go from snowball.
Remember, he's got the Federal Reserve by the balls right now.
Ugh. Because they've been effing the country for over 100 years. I mean, I'm a visual person, Steve. You know that. So yeah, I could just see him like, by the way, here's some criminality you should check out, and Mitch McConnell is a turtle. I'll see you next year. Turtle man. Yeah. He's perfect for Congress because he runs at the same speed.
He was so hated when he denied like the $2,000 stimulus bill. He was just, I think, the most hated person in all American politics, even way above Trump. People hated Mitch McConnell. I mean, it was crazy.
Does anyone have information about? There's a 20,000 page, which is 7 feet tall or something ridiculous, 20,000 page bill for domestic terrorism. It's like, well, they didn't write that in a week.
No.
It's still an ongoing
and they never
project.
write all these bills. Yeah, they never write these bills. It's usually lobbyists that write it out for them, like, oil corporations and stuff like that.
Did you read this? Sure, I read it.
I looked at the summary. But it's very Patriot Act, where it was ready to go before 9/11. Like, well, how did you know?
Like the Michael Jackson special.
I went to the psychic. Yeah.
Michael Jackson. Yeah, he lived.
Was it 24 hours had passed, before they had the Michael Jackson? Well, we saw it coming. Special on TV. They had it queued up.
Yeah.
Well, media does that though. They have actual. It's a bit morbid, but they have loosely edited documentaries about famous people, so they can get on top of it in less than 24 hours. And so, it's 80% complete, and then obviously they have to do, if they die in a car crash,
a little bit of custom voiceover.
Yeah, and they weave in the narrative, but they still have these packages ready to go in just in case. I'm sure there are people with Paul McCartney. There's programs.
I think he killed Michael. I think Paul killed Michael.
Well, there is that as well.
Paul, rather, yeah.
Yeah, Paul II's done very well there. He's earned all that. He can still perform. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
But
that's why all the other Beatles really hated him. And he's out. He's going so hard now. He's trying so hard. Hey, look at me. Hey, I did this once and stuff. And nobody seemed to care.
Well, he's recording and still touring. So I mean, it's.
I love McCartney.
Wings, stuff like that.
Well, let's be fair. Let's be fair. Nobody's touring. Nobody's touring. That's the cute part right now, isn't it?
That's true.
Yeah, there's the online experience where the guys from Seven Dust, they did their anniversary show of their album Home, and the drummer said, yeah, it sucked because they're just playing to video walls and cameras, and it's not the same as live experience.
What you need is a big LED wall where you can pipe in individual people's accounts who've got a camera on their face, and they can fill the screen so they can make funny faces.
That's what Metallica did.
Wicked.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. So they've adapted, but there'll still be live performances from bands because there is that unique thing. Unfortunately, the cinema industry has took a dive, and especially when Wonder Woman 1984 came out, and it was terrible.
I think it's probably for the best. I mean, all it really is organized propaganda in the first place, anyway.
We did private shows practicing civil disobedience all year.
Yeah, we're good at it once we were allowed out. So, we'll see. Does anyone know what Biden wants to do with the coronavirus? Because, at the debates, it was really weird. I knew something was up with Biden because he couldn't even lie for a whole paragraph where Trump's done all these bad things and, lockdown and destroying the economy. And by the end of the paragraph, I'm going to do the same thing.
I vote Jack.
Masks all the time.
The only thing that these guys can do is what you just have to understand the narrative of CNN is what leads the tongues of these vipers. Okay, these Washington-based central media networks like the Washington Post and so on and so forth. They're all deep state compromised. They're all Mockingbird. Okay, they're all like that.
Are we too much fooling ourselves that it's all the two hands of the same thing?
Mm. And the interesting thing is, as well, the legacy media was declining with Trump in, and now 80% of their content's gone because if we go with the timeline that Trump's removed, they have to fill all that time with, and hatred, and people are just going to walk away. And so, I mean, CNN apparently is up for sale. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
I think in the past there was a decision when Ronald Reagan was in, and they went, should we go with this Ronald Reagan model, with more? Should we get more actors into this kind of stuff? And they made this.
I don't know.
What does the 9 a.m. call series that Veritas put out do to CNN's ability to get bought and sold? What would happen? What did that do to CNN at this critical moment for them as a business?
Well, if they get sold and actually get journalists and tell the truth, they could be the biggest network on the planet. Don't see that happening, of course.
Yeah, you have to understand, like the level of incompetence of the guy who was of Jeff Zucker, running those 9 a.m. phone calls, and he was on a system where, he didn't like secure it like every single day, while you're listening to them definitely like running. Like, it's interesting listening to those phone calls, because the thing you have to like listen to them about when you're talking to somebody who gets a lot of authority from a source like CNN is to understand that, like, these 9 a.m. phone calls is people are bringing their investigation to the desk, and then they're running it by the boss, right? And then the boss is meant to like check on that and say and ask questions about the claims being made, you know, in that, to see where it goes. He does none of those things. He likes the way it takes the way people think. It's showing you how CNN performs mind control. That's what's interesting.
And it's interesting as well from a bigger perspective of the big tech aspect, because there was the whole thing of like, well, if you get off Twitter, start your own program app. And they did. It's like, then they got kicked up. Was like, get your own servers like Gab. And it's like they have, and it's like now they're trying to keep kicking them off. Ideas. And it's like, then it's well, go start your own country. Like, oh, hang on,
we have quantum reality.
That what's his face who runs Veritas? He's got a good relationship with Donald. I think he had a private meeting with him.
Well, that makes sense, because he's actually a journalist. Like, he takes information and shares it from almost a non-biased way. It's a quantum physics experiment. If you look at something, you interact with it. But he seems to like he's got less of an agenda and biases than everyone else, because like you can see the hypocrisy of like apparently. The incident at the Capitol was the greatest shocking day in American history. Meanwhile, 6 months earlier, where cities were on fire, these are peaceful. Like the even Kamala Harris. There's a video of Kamala Harris like, keep going, get out in the streets and keep pushing. And now it's like, oh no, rioting's bad, and it's that it is total mind control and element of fascism. And go ahead, Eagle.
Social network. App addiction. Imagine having the addiction to that one app on your device.
Can I just put in a little bit brackets?
Almost finishing here. And they Parler. Interesting how freedom of speech through Parler is now being attacked and just diminished. And it's kind of interesting how these platforms of potential communication gets put into the media and then attacked, and it's just unbelievable how that goes and how they're actually working at the president right now. However many more days he has, the First Amendment is being attacked. But please go, Cortek.
Now, if I may, before I'd like to apologize to Eagle. Cortek likes to interrupt, but
I thought I could put brackets in your sentence. Obviously not.
I'm used to it.
Okay, well then, Cortek, you have the floor.
So I don't know if you guys saw Ready Player One or read the book or whatever. It's super cool. The Ready Player 2 came out recently, and it's the sequel to it. It's one of the ideas is that every single society comes to the point. Every society really is, or every single person is built to kind of have close, group of people, maybe 300 people at the most, or whatever, like something like that. And the idea was like it's a great mark of a great sci-fi, I think, when you have these throwaway ideas that aren't just milked, but just are left there for you to think about, kind of thing.
That's true.
And
that's true.
He goes, well, maybe it was the mark of every kind of society that has built up and then completely destroyed itself. Maybe it got to the point where it developed a social media app where it could speak to thousands and thousands of people, and that just didn't work. and that was the end of society on all of these.
Yeah,
but it's more than that. It's basically corruption. That's basically what destroys a civilization. Go ahead, Steve.
I'm saying that like the problem is that like it did work, and thus but the problem is that if you put the technology in the wrong placement in your timeline, you blow your lid before you're able to get the gun off your head.
You talking about age limits?
Yeah, because you have to understand. We're living in a universe here where the world's been covertly held hostage by the actual people who won World War II, combined with the communist infrastructure and the old capitalist money. And that stuff has been how this whole world system operates. It's why China had to step in when Russia fell. Which I suspect was not part of the plan. I suspect that Reagan had to sacrifice a lot to George H.W. Bush to get one particular mission for the Patriots done, which was to kill the Soviet Union because we can't work. We'll never succeed if there's a strong communist China and a strong Soviet Union, and we can't tell them that we're bringing out China yet. So we got to take down Russia, right? That happened. And that is part and parcel of why it's been Russia, because Vladimir Putin was not part of the plan in the 80s. That was Reagan's little patriotic sneak attack that he had at the last minute, too.
Well, yeah. Also, Putin kicked David Rockefeller out because basically Russia was a paper tiger. It was just to be a false enemy, so they could keep doing war. Like technically, Vietnam was supposed to go on forever, where they just throw money in.
It seemed like a lot of the time Russia seemed to be the people, 10 years back that seemed to be stopping these skirmishes and wars at the time.
Yeah, and then
averting this stuff. Yeah, before all that.
And then Donald Trump comes in and starts making peace deals and not starting a war. And he's for a dictator, he sucks because he's been thrown off mainstream media as well as losing an election, and big tech censored him. Like, do you know what dictator means? Like, it's basically. I think
it's the opposite.
Yeah, I really need to. I've got a digital copy of The Art of War, and I want to read that because there's a great quote that Chris Geo shared. Blame your adversary of what you're doing, and it's a simple thing, and that they're going by a playbook from 1693, and that's what they're doing. And that's why people
2 pages long.
Yeah, and their playbooks to play. Oh, this should work. Yeah, back then, not now.
Divide and conquer goes a long way.
Well, that's the thing. Like, without talking out of school, I think that's the right term. It's interesting watching hosts at the station try and converse lately, and that's all I'll say about that. Right, Eagle.
Yeah, there's certain apps that you can become addicted to, and it's interesting how you can get focused in on that one app on your device, and you deductively kind of look at all the other ones, but it seems like there's the one app that you have that energy. Like, say, a couple back year, we all kind of watched, I don't want to say we all, but a lot of people watched Fox, and they were like, oh, yeah, Tucker Carlson, oh, yeah, Sean Hannity. There was kind of like that Donald Trump message, coming across, that energy, it was kind of like we went to that part on our screen, So now, with the cancel culture and the technocratic power happening, like, say, coming from, let's call it Silicon Valley, connected with international.
WhatsApp just recently got compromised. It's time to go to a new app that hasn't been sold out.
Exactly. So the evolution of what's taking place is our addictions have kind of run out of time through this Piscean into the Aquarian time. It's almost like we're refreshing ourselves and kind of refresh rate for all of us. And I think when we come together, we want to accelerate with our communication so we can kind of be better for everyone. I think not just locally, but internationally.
When we first got those devices, we were swapping and changing apps. We were trying out everything. Then we got complacent with, stuff that just worked. We shouldn't, be afraid to just ditch things that have sold out. Keep moving. Signal.
I'm afraid of cell phones, period.
Yeah. I misplaced mine for a month, and it was really, really nice. I knew it was around somewhere because I was doing WhatsApp Web, but then I researched that, and WhatsApp Web has.
I remember mine grew legs and arms and made me tea.
I found it eventually, but the conclusion I came to was that if you're at home, you should turn your phone off. There's no need for it.
If I may interject, someone important at the station anyway, has joined us. And I don't think, have you, please welcome a Mad Painter. I can't remember if you've actually been on Planet Collingwood before.
Hey, Mr.
No,
Painter.
I haven't, and I'm not very important.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. I've seen your artwork. How dare you, sir?
Hey, I'd like to bring up something interesting. Project Veritas released a 2-minute, 19-second. I'm not saying that because I want to play it. I'm just talking about it. There's a hashtag expose PBS going around now. PBS Principal Counsel Michael Beller incites political violence and radical left-wing agenda. And so he's got somebody who works for PBS, which is a pretty much government television, talking about starting, making people start riots.
Yeah, but
insurrection. What a show!
Yeah, thank you. I recently watched that too. It's like, wow. So what's on your mind, Ahmad? Or Painter? Or...
You all were talking about Russia and China.
Yeah.
I've been here at the station since the beginning, and I've been screaming China's been our real enemy, and I hadn't been paid him much attention to by doing it. Everybody just always thinks Russia. We haven't been an enemy with Russia since Kennedy. It's been a paper tiger so they could build each other's arms up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like an agreement.
It was an agreement.
Yeah. Well, yeah, China's exposing itself. Like, I was on the Unfrackers, because I can't say the real name on air, because I want to stay on air, where in the last 20 years, it seems to be a new breed of Chinese people. There's over 1 billion of them, so it's not that hard to look, but the Chinese have been in Victoria, where I live, for since 1855, and in the last 2 decades, there seems to be a new breed come in where the suburb that I actually grew up in, it's very the new Chinese, and my parents, my dad and my stepmom don't go there because they feel ostracized and racist. And then my mum's told me a story about actual third-generation Chinese people don't go there as well because there's the hatred, and there's that whole divide thing where I think in Sydney, I'm not sure about here in Melbourne, but I do know of in Sydney, there are people working in stores that do not know how to speak English. Now, if I'm moving to France, I'm going to learn French. So
right, I agree with that. We have that problem here with the people from India running the stores here.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with running stores and good customer service, but you want to learn the language of
at least communicate.
Yeah, the language of the country you're in. If I'm going to Uganda, I'll learn whatever they speak. Ugandan. But it's highly offensive where you go to an English-speaking country and you now, we're not saying forget your old language. That's the good thing about America, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia, 4 of the 5 eyes, that you absorb their culture. You bring the good bits. Like how many Chinese stores here at Cortek, fish and chip shops, the Greeks.
I love fish and chip shops.
Souvlaki.
Me too.
What do you think? What do you think you'd be losing if we all spoke the one language?
Well, we can communicate better, but
definitely,
but at what loss? I can see what you're saying. Because, this is where you got the stupidity of cultural appropriation. It's like, well, does that mean I can't eat carrots because that's from that originally came from Afghanistan?
No, because you don't want to offend rabbits.
Yeah, and it's just like, really? And come on. I mean, it's
eat everything. Yeah. That's what I say.
Well, yeah, that's what I was working on a stand-up comedy
routine. Except for humans.
Excuse me. I was working on a stand-up comedy routine of going through racism through food. And, go ahead, Ahmad.
How does it work for your country? Here in the United States, somebody can come over. If they own a business, they don't have to be a citizen. They can run the business, and it's tax-free.
That doesn't sound sensible.
Yeah, I don't think we're at that level. Because that's
NAFTA.
Yeah. Well, we're not part of that. I could be wrong. So any Australians in the chat room, but if you're running a business in here, mind you,
that would mean any corporation of any size overseas can just walk around like they want.
Well, it isn't.
Well, I'm talking about a
diplomatic
private
community,
citizen, like the people that own, like motels and stores, convenience stores.
Yeah.
If they come over, buy a store, they can stay here, they can raise their family here, and they don't have to be a citizen, and they don't have to pay taxes.
That's right.
Well, doesn't even the business doesn't pay taxes? Because that doesn't seem
But
right.
no, they don't pay personal taxes.
Okay, all right.
They write it off.
It's an overarching thing. Yeah.
And they trip, and the banks trip over themselves to loan them money.
Well, they have the Santander Bank, which is like the illegal immigrant bank now, run by the cartel and stuff like that. So it's really interesting. Those border towns.
And they bring in a lot of people from different countries, and they put them into colleges, and they don't have to pay for the colleges.
Yeah, that's big here in Australia. The overseas college students, because they have money, and so the politicians just see the economics. You're bringing money, so that'll help the economy. Here, Cortek, I'm not sure. It may be the same in Sydney. Because are you in Sydney, or where are you without telling me your address?
Yes.
You're in Sydney. Oh, well, Sydney's huge, so don't worry. We won't find you. But in Melbourne, over the last 20 years, the governments, doesn't matter what side of the aisle, because we're basically a two-party system with fringe dwellers that give preferences, build all these skyscrapers, which half of them are empty. But it's good for the economy because we're constructing and it's bringing money in. And if they're empty, what's the point?
Just saying it's good for the economy is good for the economy. It's all about confidence, Monty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, because it's all based on faith. Because the currency is not backed by anything; it's actually backed by human faith. On human faith. And that's the thing about in the building industry. It's there's a lot of apartments in the city, but they're not up to code, and they're about 3 feet or a meter too small. And it's like, you go into the lounge room and you have to crick your neck because the roof's so low. How
look
much
at the scaffolding in New York City. The scaffolding costs more than the apartments, and they just keep on building the scaffolding. Yeah. Scaffolding.
And here in Melbourne, we've basically got the city centre, which is just there's so much shadow and wind tunnel effect now because of there's so many buildings up. You hardly get sun and you can be blown away, which is new for Australia.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I'll just go outside.
It's a new beach sport.
Yeah, but
the rest of it with a windfoil or something.
But Sydney and as well as Melbourne are one of the biggest cities because of our suburb. We never went up; we always went out. And now, say 15 kilometres from the city, which is 7 mile, at a guess. This is where the new Chinese are in. They're turning Box Hill into a mini Hong Kong. And so, if you look at the vista of suburbs, there's hardly anything over 2 stories high, and then you see Box Hill, and it's just like a hemorrhoid. Basically, there's just all
there
these
some
buildings.
good yum chow places there?
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I don't go there myself. I don't live that close, but yeah, that's how the Chinese got us. They started with the restaurants.
Yum chop. What's a yum chop?
Yum chow.
Okay.
Oh, yum chow.
It's a range of stuff brought to you on trays.
I prefer food chew.
That sounds like most food.
Yao Ming. Yao Ming. That guy played basketball. 7 feet tall.
And that's the thing as well, where I'm sure some insane lefty nut jobs somehow find this station. Hello. We're not saying that China, get rid of the Chinese and because I remember I had cable TV 20 years ago. It was part of the package of renting the rooms. We got Foxtel in your bedroom. Awesome. Didn't leave the room for 6 days. But anyway,
Chinese food was always good, Marty. Whenever we got to eat it, right?
Yeah, I'll expand from that. On the Discovery Channel.
Egg foo young for breakfast.
Yeah.
I could eat rice and shit like that.
We know what Chinese is. It's just better Italian. No, sorry. The noodles, spaghetti, just the marketing. The Discovery Channel, they would have little bits because the shows wouldn't go for an hour, so they had 5 minutes instead of ads back then. Now they're full of ads. But they had 5-minute vignettes of basically ancient Chinese technology, which was created 3,000 years ago. And my God, China basically invented everything 3,000 years ago. Gunpowder, the water wheel, and all this other stuff. And then the Dark Ages, which is when the church was in charge. Anyway.
England got them hooked on opium.
Yes, yeah, and that was the royal
That
family.
might have been perfectly timed for them to go on their spiritual quest there.
What, being zonked out on the opium?
Well, yeah, you know. There's no coincidence.
Textile.
Yeah, I find
Weaving.
like it's there are people still in Australia like no, we have to follow the Queen. She's anointed by God. You do realise basically an ancestor of her. They're all warlords, and they won because they had the bigger sword. That's how they. God allowed me to be the king. No, you killed everyone else.
It's a bit ridiculous at this point, isn't it?
Yeah. So I would like Australia to be a republic. However, in this political climate, who knows? We may end up being a UN lapdog. So,
I'd like it just to happen naturally by the next person who what's her name, Karks, it just goes, look, I think this is better that people have it. You know, we're all in this together. Let's do this.
They're waiting for the Queen to die. Go ahead, our Eagle.
Ooh, wow.
So what you're saying is those with the biggest sword shall conquer?
Well, they did. I'm not sure about now because you'll probably get shot.
That's.
I have a sword. Bang! You bastard!
Keep your powder dry.
Take that, Conan. Yeah.
But yeah, apparently with
Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the guy comes around, swinging two swords and he pulls out the gun.
Yes, yeah.
Oh yeah.
that scene wasn't written that way. Harrison Ford said like, "I'll just shoot him," and they saved about half a day of shooting because he just went bang. Yeah. It works so well. It's so indie. Apparently, they're trying to make a third one. It's like, but Harrison Ford's in his 80s.
Fourth one.
Yeah. No. Fifth one.
Just deep fake.
Crystal Skull.
Yeah, Crystal
Holy Grail, right?
Yeah.
Holy Grail
that was the third
First
one.
one.
No,
Third one.
First one was the Ark. Second one was the Temple of Doom. And then the third one, I can't remember. Last Crusade or whatever it was.
Kalima.
Yeah, where Sean Connery,
Crystal
who's 12.
Skull.
Yeah, and that was the fourth one. Sean Connery plays Indiana Jones' dad, and they're only 12 years apart. Mind you, it's Sean Connery, so it's believable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, let me
Junior.
Go ahead, Steve.
With those movies, like what I find interesting is like the bad ones, right? Like the fourth Indiana Jones, for instance, other kinds of B films. If you go back and you forget about how awful those films are for a minute, and you look at the premise of the film, you often find out that the premise was what mattered, because it was part of a form of disclosure. A reference point a lot of people my age will understand was the video game Doom was made into a movie. Now the movie had a very simple plot to follow. It had
That is the game.
Had a lot of very certain basics for an R-rated film that it needed to be, which includes like literal demons, portals that take you to hell, and all this kind of thing. They made this whole convoluted plot about Mars. What you end up realizing, if you're into truth research like we are, is that they're telling us a couple of things about what the deep state knows about Mars in real life, and they hijack this film to ruin the video game adaptation.
Interesting.
Story they wanted to tell.
It was also a terrible movie. Go ahead, Eagle.
Wasn't that Richard Hoagland that talked about pyramids on Mars?
Correct. A lot of people that have talked about Mars, what's his face says Mars is a murdered planet. Graham Hancock.
Farrell.
A lot of people have said that Mars is a murdered planet, and so and that there are Martian refugees that are part of some of this bloodline nonsense that we're dealing with now. So my point is that jump rooms to Mars, that's Project Pegasus stuff. So there's Project Pegasus effectively being put into the Doom movie, elements about the super soldier program, which the way it works is very similar to Marvel's Captain America, where you get injected with this genetic drug from the Martians, and if you have the psychopath gene, it physiologically transforms you into a demon. And that's how it sounds lovely. But if you are a moral person, it turns you into a super soldier. This is Red Skull versus Captain America.
Yeah, in the first one. Yeah, the first Avenger, which they retconned with Captain Craptle. I mean, Marvel. You remember Comet Elenin? I think that's how you said it. I remember Pony went on about
Elenin.
It when it went through the system, and I can't remember if it broke.
97.
Yeah, in the last 10 years, that one.
Yeah, 97, right? Comet Elenin.
Yeah. Anyway, timelines are shifting again, ladies and gentlemen.
Here we go.
It reacted with every planet, and when it went past Mars, Mars had an actual quake. And I remember suspicious observers saying Mars had a quake, which is a handy trick for a dead planet.
Just checking systems as we fly by.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of stuff we don't know about a lot of things. And hopefully, if we get it this year, which could explain the whole upheaval. And as Steve pointed out, Trump needs to release the right bit of information, cracking the dam, and it'll just flow.
Yeah, there's a lot of so-called soft disclosure, I think, in the fourth Indiana Jones film. I just recently rewatched it. Go ahead.
I think that was the whole purpose of Trump forming the Space Force, was in order to leak technology out, because they can turn around and go, look what the Space Force just discovered.
Yeah.
Right.
Look at TARDIS. Yeah. Wow. Go ahead, Eagle.
Well, Steve mentioned jump room to Mars, and I was just wondering is it possible that there's jump rooms other places than Mars? I mean, are we limited to just 2 spots for the jump room?
Is anyone... it's all just a sign?
Well, no. The point is that there's a specific history that has government documentation and whistleblowers associated with it.
I've interviewed all of the people about the jump room except Barshago. He won't do an interview with me.
I actually had a chance to do Bashago twice. I was never able to get that other guy, the one that was a little on the kookier side.
What's your take on it? What's your take on it?
I'll put it this way. It wasn't Robert Mendez. It was that other guy. Who was that third guy?
I spent 12 hours on air with Mendez. 12 hours.
Wow.
Dang.
Part 1 of a trilogy?
Have to get to Mars. To
answer your question, Eagle, there's not many places in the solar system you can actually go, because I think the outer planets like Uranus or Eurectum, however you say it, Neptune. If you would have to go to like the moons of Jupiter and Mars. You can't go to Jupiter because it's gas, so it'll be either a space station or something. So Venus maybe, but you have to go through the atmosphere because it's just intense. And of course you've got that the moon that is so unnatural it's not funny. Where the dark side of the moon, but if the moon's between us and the sun, it's not really dark, so it should technically be the far side of the moon. But I don't see Pink Floyd. I don't see Pink. I don't see Pink Floyd selling more copies if it was called Far Side of the Moon.
The moon does rotate. Everybody don't think it does, but it does.
Yeah, but it keeps showing us the same side.
Yeah, we only because of this. It rotates at it rotates just slightly slower than it rotates around the Earth, so we get to see 60% of it.
Okay,
that's why we see it wax and wane. If it didn't rotate, it'd just be a ball all the time.
Yeah, I noticed that because I've been watching some films that the moon, and it's like, where's that big ring? Like it's I don't think it's a Mandela effect, but if it's 60% moving around, the features change. Because you've got that classic style. I think it's a third down,
it's
a quarter.
28 point. It's 20. It rotates at a 28.6 or something like that, and it's almost exactly what it rotates around the Earth.
Yeah, and I think the sun rotates at that time as well, which it's
another planet that is in tidal lock with us is Venus. We've only ever seen one side of Venus.
Ooh.
Wow. Oh, really? Is that how that works?
Yeah.
So our solar system is so full of anomalies, it's ridiculous, and nobody pays attention to them.
Well, there's that thing about the solar system looks like an atom. Yeah, but our solar system's rooted, just completely stuffed.
Well, an atom doesn't. It rotates with things in different orbits. Ours are most of them are on the same plane.
Yes. But if you look at the solar system, something went on years ago.
Yeah, something come through here and messed things up. I mean, Uranus is laying on its side. Yeah. You know, and
Bode's law says there should be another planet in there.
That's probably the
and if belt. You think the asteroid belt, if you put all the material together that's in the asteroid belt, it comes to about a third of what our moon is. It's not much stuff.
Yeah.
They say it sounds
the big
like
stuff
a bunch
went
of
up
stuff.
into bigger orbit.
Well, pretty much the asteroid belt it used to be part of Earth. Our orbit used to be over there. We used to have more mass.
Yeah, and where the Earth is sitting, we couldn't have formed water. Right.
That's like what, the waste and the desolation from Genesis 1:1. That's what they're talking about. The waste and the desolation was that, Maldek was destroyed. And then they took the largest chunk of what was left of Maldek, moved it closer to the sun, and then started terraforming it. And from that point, it became a nature preserve and a prison colony at the same time.
Oh, lovely. Eagle, I remember you having a comment. I know, I'm so flippant sometimes. Oh, that's lovely. Frickin'.
It started off great.
Yeah, it just sounded really bad. Eagle, you were actually having a conversation on a mad show with SJ. You mentioned the asteroid belt as well.
I like asteroid belts. Yeah, they're good.
There's that whole story about, there being a super weapon on Earth and the misfire or test fire being the Scar on Mars, making it the Warrior, but then actually hitting its target being, Maldek or whatever.
Space.
That's a good theory. If you look at the electric universe theory, is an electrical discharge cause.
I like the electric universe theory. It makes sense.
Yeah.
All those petroglyphs across the world that are the same. All these people had something in common, and it was that the planets were much closer, and you could see the plasmic link between planets. And people thought this. Sorry, go on.
Have you heard of the Purple Dawn theory?
No, what's that?
That Jupiter was actually our first sun, and it was a failed neutron star, and we were caught inside its atmosphere, and it made everything purple, light all the time. And that's and we didn't see the stars until Jupiter was migrated out.
Moved,
and there's stories, rumors, theories, whatever you want to call it, that the Cabal have been trying to ignite the star again.
Jupiter.
Ignite it.
Yeah.
To make it a second planet.
Yeah.
That's how 2001: A Space Odyssey, the book ends.
Yes. Yeah. You got the two
There's
suns.
a lot of things in that story. Actually, it wasn't a monolith; it was a cube.
Ooh.
In the original.
That's right.
Is that not what's
It was on some other planet?
We've got one on Io, don't we?
It was Saturn.
Iapetus, I think. Iapetus, right?
Yeah,
Saturn.
there's something like that.
So, for those playing at home, if you need to use an example of how psychopaths rule the planet and were run by idiots, the psychopaths try to blow up Jupiter's to reignite it as a sun. Go ahead, Eagle.
Well, they half were going to do that when they did the nuke, because they knew it might blow up, but they went, let's try it anyway.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead, Eagle.
You mentioned asteroid belt, and I think of the Van Allen belt, and these other types of bands of stars and things and magnetic maybe anomalies like Ahmad mentioned earlier. Is it possible that the like the Van Allen belt could be like the top of the dome and we're under a dome?
Apparently there's two Van Allen belts, and it's like a donut where there's gaps in the the poles. So usually,
that's like the
Van Allen belt.
We actually the magnetic field actually looks like a bar magnet.
Yes,
I've heard the theory that could be responsible for any kind of film getting wiped going through it as well.
Well, it depends, because that's why the spacecrafts are done with the gold foil. Gold is the best radiation barrier there is, period.
Nice.
That's why they use the gold foil and everything.
Go ahead, Eagle.
So is the asteroid belt that maybe goes over Australia also going to have the same directional vortex as it crosses the United States? Or are there different seasons? Say, like, now it's the summer for you,
the asteroid
and we're in a different
the other side
hemisphere.
of Mars.
There we go. So do we all get to view the same energies at the same time, or are they split apart within this round Earth or within this other shape of Earth?
You see them upside down from your hemisphere.
Yeah, like the Southern Cross. If you I got this from a cartoon, so it may not be true. But if you travel from the northern hemisphere and head towards the equator, you can see the Southern Cross, but it's upside down from your perspective compared to ours, because Australia's got the land down under. We're on top. All your maps are wrong. I just want to point that out. But yeah, it's different perspectives. Like, apparently you can see the North Star, and it's like, I haven't seen it. Mind you, there are certain people in a subject matter which I don't want to bring up, but apparently Australia is fake and we're all actors working for NASA. If that's true, I'm owed 46 years worth of money.
Well, if the world's flat, Australia ain't there.
Well, I know, like, really. So I'm in a completely different dream bubble.
But see, right now, Monty, you and your friends, you're putting your shorts on, you're putting on your sandals and your T-shirt. Mm-hmm. I got to put on 3 layers of clothes, 2 hats, gloves. Ooh. You know, it's hard to let the dog out. You know, for 5 minutes.
Minnesota.
They have summer when we have winter.
Yeah, there is a video of a farmer has a shed, and he opens it up, and he's got about 400 ducks. And it's fantastic because they've got that whole nature thing of working together as a flock. And they all run out. Snow, and they all run back in. It's glorious to watch.
We can save him, boys. Oh no, too cold.
Yeah.
We're free. Look, teenagers, quick, run back in.
Yeah. You know, those are the birds persevere through the winter. It's incredible.
Well, let's
find a way.
Yeah, well, interesting enough, what's happening, the magnetic poles are doing something a bit fishy, or whatever word you want to use, because apparently they want to do those self-driving cars in Sydney. Google, I don't understand. Google wants to make a robot, military robot. You're a search engine. Stop that. But
let's just let it drive around the city. Sure, no problem.
But they had to because the magnetic field changed and all the GPS went out of whack. They had to pause it to try and fix it. Apparently, in airports in Florida, had to repaint their runways because North's moved. Yeah,
they're constantly shifting. It's like 50 to 100 meters a year.
Well, that's. I jokingly say it's done enough work. It's going on holiday to Siberia because it's just for the North Pole. It's screaming towards North Siberia because it's moving quicker each year. There's been readings of there's 2 North Poles and 2 South Poles at the same time, and it's just really weird stuff. Now, if animals that migrate are using the magnetic field to find places, which kind of makes sense, it makes it easier. It's similar to whales beaching themselves. It's because from their perspective, the land's moved. It's like, why is New Zealand here? It wasn't here for the last 30 years, and it's because the magnetic field
swimming.
There's a big anomaly in the Atlantic, South Atlantic anomaly that they really have a problem with. Even in space, with the spacecraft that fly over, they have to literally have special, what do you call it, shielding for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting. Now, since we dabble in the conspiracy world, when was the last time you heard of the Bermuda Triangle?
I know. Yeah, just looking at that. Yeah.
Yeah. Did someone turn the crystal pyramid off so all this stuff will stop? It's.
Well, I got an idea. We can make up a terrorism to take the attention away.
Doesn't everybody just ignore it now? Like, not ignore it, but I mean, like,
was there a crystal palace down there?
Over it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well,
they think they've got it solved, is what it is.
Yeah.
So they don't pay attention to it.
Well, guys, I'm glad you asked, because what happened is that there was an evil emperor he turned into a skeleton and was like one of those ghost ship deals. But instead of being Scooby, never mind.
Yeah, it's like, I don't remember this Bond. What Bond film's this?
Yeah.
Got away with it.
It was
damn kids.
John C's going to drop some tactical now. No, he's just being a douche.
It was the original Home of the Kraken. Yeah, they just suck them down.
The original.
I did like what Payne's saying. Is like they figured it out, and then it winked out of reality. Oh, this is what it is. Beep. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, you clocked the game. Game over.
Yeah. Welcome to the second level of Jumanji. Yeah. So it's been fun. We're coming up to the end. We've got about 5 or 6 minutes, and I'm only doing 2 hours because I'm sweating to death because summer decided to turn up here in Melbourne. Yay!
I'm going back to bed. I just got up to check on things and seen y'all on. I heard what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're still here.
Yeah.
So,
Good to talk.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll do the
Cheers,
wrap up.
fellas.
We won't say goodbye, but we'll do the wrap up. So, Ahmad, where can people? Obviously, you're kind of important with the station, so we could listen to you anytime. But you've got 2 shows a week, don't you?
Yeah, Sunday at 11 Eastern Standard Time, and then Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, so and they're always interesting as well. Like
They're call-in shows. I just like to talk to people.
And nothing wrong with it, especially after nearly a year of lockdown. People kind of need that communication. We're a social. I mean, I'm a hermit, but still, it's weird me saying.
I got tired of doing interviews. Is all it is.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah, especially if you've been here nearly 10 years. It's like I've talked to everybody.
I found myself just going up to randoms and just speaking to them like I knew them my whole life, and it seems to be going well. Just like the thing when you're 5 years old and goes, "Hey, my name's this. Do you want to play? Sure, let's play." Kind of thing. Just conversations like that. It feels like it's drawing us close together. That's
but you're also a stirrer, so I can see you doing that. Especially now with the mask mandate, you'll be freaking everyone out. I've realised too that when I here in Victoria, we have to wear masks inside of shopping centres and cinemas if they're open, and sort of when the public's close together. So that may change in 3 days, but still.
Same here, yeah.
Yeah, I realised that my mask does protect me. It protects me from a $200 fine.
You know what the virus has been good for?
Ooh.
It cured the flu.
Yeah, I mean,
and terrorism.
Yeah, I actually saw that. Scientists baffled that influenza has disappeared.
A single case the whole year.
No, really? And also, I think the death rate in 2020 is lower than 2019, which brings up the question: when was there a pandemic in 2019?
If I was a scientist looking for unlimited tenure, I would be going for that whole why there was no flu, because you wouldn't be allowed to answer it.
Well, no, it's getting a bit crazy because it's interesting to try and have conversations with people because you can talk about all the political stuff, and then you get to a certain point where you have to bring in the COVID thing, and even you have to follow the science. Well, I have for 12 months.
If you die of that here, you got to be cremated. You can't be buried.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, follow the science. I have been for 12 months, and I'm keep getting conflicting reports where the World Health Organization, because if I say WHO, people think I'm talking about the doctor. The World Health Organization says, lockdowns are good, but masks are pointless. And now it's the other way around, where masks are good and lockdowns are pointless. Like, how are we supposed to follow this stuff with, apparently the experts with bunny ears have no idea what they're doing.
And everyone else is trying to look busy. Go on.
Is somebody going to pick it up, or should I go in there and throw something on?
I'm heading off. So, Eagle, do you actually have a show, or are you just super awesome guest?
I have an intuitive show in my brain that I work on in my mind.
Great.
It's a work in progress.
And I'm learning. So see, it's a process.
Excellent. And, so just a super guest. So to answer your question, Ahmad. Put something on, because
what?
Can I just say, right? All right. So Bruce said that we have a few people in the audience that are probably listening in from whatever agencies and monitoring our free speech, but I don't think free speech is ever going to die.
No.
And so like with it, I'm so proud to be with you guys, and
thank you.
Let's keep speaking free.
And that's the point of Planet Collingwood, where I think I'm the only comedy show on. I'm sure you can laugh all the way through the station. Let's be fair, depending on what your belief is. But if people listen, like either the alphabet agencies have no idea what we're saying, or they like my humor, and so they stick around.
yeah, it's got to be.
I've got a point on that. I was at this random bookstore and I found this Unknown Mysteries book. It's great, but what I read was like mysteries that they've grouped together for the last 300 years. So it's nice to see kind of the patterns. But there was actually a story about the Titanic thing that happened, without talking about all the Olympic stuff and stuff like that. But there was actually a story about 10 to 13 years earlier that was identical to what happened on the Titanic.
That's right.
It's all about. Like, I'm not sure about the creativity of these people that try and do these things that don't help anyone.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they're just copying stuff that's just been around.
Okay, Steve. Quickly give where people can find you.
All right, you can find me on DLive, where I was live streaming us tonight, but somewhere between 10 and 20 viewers throughout the evening. And you can find me on YouTube as Zerilath, MeWe as Zerilath, all these different things. Facebook, Zerilath396. Instagram, just my name.
Yeah, that's the fun part about the big tech censorship is like, instead of having one app, you have 7 now. Like, for the love of...
Yeah. Well, it's also the fun of the age of Aquarius, so just adapt.
Yeah, well, I've been saying that for a while. You're human, adapt. But I like crying. Yes, I know. So I'd like to thank Steve Zerilath, Cortek, Bruce MacDonald, Eagle Eye, Brandon Young, John Z, and a Mad Painter for being here, as well as you, dear listeners, for listening in. I hope we made you chuckle and we shared a bit of information. And the idea of this show is to come from a comedic bent, as well as releasing some of the steam, because there's other shows to go deep and serious. So I go to my strengths, which is to take the piss. So there you are. So Planet Collingwood.
And Monty.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to. Yeah. Well, yes. Go ahead. Planet Collingwood.
Planet Collingwood will be back in 6 days and 22 hours, and that's going to be Inauguration Day. I know I can't say that word right, but I don't care.
Geez.
So we'll have a prelude to shenanigans, and that's what everyone should call it. It's going to be shenanigans.
I'm going to bring my shovel.
Does it kick in a break when your show's over?
It has been, but it does on the normal station, but because this is the old one, it doesn't.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, I only remembered that now. It's like, that's right. Yeah, so...
So you're going to play a video and not have people talk?
I'm going back to bed.
You can take care of this yourself.
Cortek and I would be good, talking right now.
Well, if you want to stay on, that's up to you. But it's dead air until 8 o'clock when.
Well, yeah, if Cortek and Eagle, if you want to go for another 2 hours, grab the ball
and run. You can just stay on. You don't drive.
Well, that was Hijacker. Yeah, I recommended that. So maybe we could give it a go.
Stay for now and see how it goes.
Well, Hijacker. Yeah. We don't. His word ain't too good lately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll keep that for the green room, chaps. We'll just keep that to the green room.
Let's call it after. Yeah, there we go.
All right, we have hit the top of the hour, which is based on the dimensions of a clock, because that's where the hands are straight up. That was Planet Collingwood here on Revolution Radio. Prepare for the after party of Planet Collingwood with your best friends, Eagle Eye and Cortek. I will see you soon.